Retro Road Test, 1998 Aston Martin DB7 vs 1998 Jaguar XK8. On a brisk British morning, when the drizzle threatens but never quite commits, two automotive icons roll up to the forecourt. On one side, the Aston Martin DB7, long-boned, elegant, and looking as though it ought to be sipping Paul Roger on the Côte d'Azur rather than parked on a suburban car park near Walsall. On the other, the Jaguar XK8, muscular but poised, like a big cat that's been living indoors and only stretches on Sunday afternoons. These are not just any Grand Tourers, they are 1998 marks of British automotive ambition. Both promise effortless pace, a level of sophistication that makes your daily commute seem tragic by comparison, and the sort of built-in charm that makes you forgive them just about anything. We've spent the better part of a week flogging these two across lanes, byways, dual carriageways, and occasionally unsuccessfully avoiding roundabouts. What follows is a thorough, unvarnished, but good-natured, comparison. Chapter 1, Background British Blood and Bones. Aston Martin DB7. When it launched earlier in the decade, the DB7 rescued Aston Martin from the brink of oblivion. It brought sleek Italian design, thank you, Tom Walkinshaw Racing and Ian Callum's lines, a more civilized price tag than Milita Monaco exotics, and enough swagger to make every other car in its rear-view mirror feel awkwardly ordinary. By 1998, the DB7 was available in several guises. Our test car is the 6-cylinder example, which is perfectly genteel and plenty quick enough. In the UK, these came with a 3.2-litre straight-six and twin superchargers. On later models, producing a compelling blend of torque and theatrical whine. It is, in essence, the gentleman's express. Refined cruising at 70 miles per hour feels as easy as holding a conversation, yet when you crack the throttle it sneers challenge accepted. Jaguar XK8. Jaguar's answer to the modern Grand Tourer arrived in 1996 with an all-new aluminium chassis and a gorgeous 4.0-litre V8. The XK8 was meant to return Jaguar to contemporary relevance, replacing the aging XJS with something lighter, faster, and genuinely competitive with continental rivals. For 1998, the XK8 was still in relatively early production, grinning with its cosseting leather, buttery smooth V8 and that unmistakable Jaguar face, a bit like a satisfied but hungry lion pondering your picnic basket. Together, these two cars represent slightly different philosophies, Aston's aristocratic flair versus Jaguar's more muscular but still sophisticated effort. Chapter 2, First Impressions. Exterior Styling. DB7. Looking at the DB7, it's hard to escape the sense that someone carefully sculpted it by candlelight and chose only the most handsome curves from the entire century of automotive design. The front end, long bonnet, bomb wings and the famous grille, seems to nuzzle the tarmac. Even in conservative British racing green, the DB7 looks like it ought to be in a Bond film, sipping martinis and making Vespers feel insecure. The proportions are harmonious, there's no part that feels out of place. It's like the automotive equivalent of a bespoke Savile Row suit. XK8. The Jaguar XK8, by contrast, looks like it could lounge in a sunlit Monte Carlo cafe and not feel out of place. The lines are smooth, the rear hips broad and inviting. It's elegant, yes, but more athletic than aristocratic. Where the DB7 whispers sophistication, the XK8 says I have a V8 and I know how to use it. It's handsome, with a hint of muscle beneath the tailoring, a confident statement without shouting. Verdict: DB7 looks refined and aristocratic, XK8 looks athletic and assured. Chapter 3, Interiors and Accommodation. DB7 Cockpit. Stepping into the DB7 is like entering a gentleman's club that accepts you even if you once owned a Ford Fiesta. The leather is sumptuous, and the switchgear feels just firm enough to reassure you of its quality without being intimidating. The seats hug just right, supportive without feeling like a wrestling belt. Where the DB7 gets a nod is in the detail, contrast stitching, elegant dials, and enough chrome to feel special but not gaudy. The driving position is superb. You sit low, forward and composed. Vision out is good for a GT car, with that long bonnet sliding away before you, hinting at adventures yet to come. XK8 cabin. The XK8's interior is unmistakably Jaguar: big, comfortable seats, thick leather everywhere, and a dashboard with sweeping lines. It's less intimate than the DB7, more executive cruiser than hushed lounge. Switchgear is large and well laid out, though some buttons feel like they came from the bin of parts that didn't quite fit anyone else's model. Still, it's intuitive. There's more space in the Jaguar too, especially at the rear, admittedly modest to begin with, but enough to accommodate actual passengers without sculpting them into art. Practicalities. Both cars are GTS, not load-lugging hatchbacks. The DB7's boot is respectable, but awkwardly shaped. The Jaguar's luggage bay is bigger and more usable, easier to load suitcases without cursing. Verdict: DB7 feels more special and driver-focused, XK8 is roomier and more executive. Chapter 4, On the Road Driving Dynamics. Engine and Transmission. Aston Martin DB7. The supercharged 3.2-litre straight-six is a delight. Around town, it's smooth and cultured, almost apologetic about its power. Get on it and the twin superchargers whine like a pair of eager hounds. In 1998 UK spec, you have immediate torque available almost everywhere in the rev range. It doesn't rush to high revs like an Italian sports car, rather, it builds with confidence. The gearbox, typically a 5-speed manual, is precise once you've remembered that yes, this is a proper sporting machine and not just an oversized hatchback. Clutch is moderately firm, encouraging you to commit, and shifts slot home with satisfying thunk. Jaguar XK8. Jaguar's 4.0-litre V8 is legendary in its own right. It's effortless, refined, and when the throttle is prodded, it seems embarrassed at how fast it's going. It's just that smooth. The automatic transmission, quick with its shifts, feels like it's constantly thinking, would you like more speed? Yes. Here it is. Paddles are optional, but even without them, the XK8 is a live-in-the-moment cruiser and sprinter. Jaguar's torque is abundant but not shamelessly shove you back in the seat abundant. It's more like a polite but confident usher guiding you towards rapidity. Ride and handling. DB7 dynamics. On winding B roads, the Aston reveals its sporting intent. The steering is communicative, weighty in a reassuring way, and when you toss the DB7 into bends, it responds with finesse rather than bluster. Body control is good, you feel connected without being jostled. It's not a razor-sharp sports car, but as a grand tourer that can dance when asked, it's superb. The suspension soaks up British road imperfections with poise. Potholes are treated with aristocratic disdain, not aggression. XK8 behavior. The XK8 is heavier than the DB7, and it shows, especially when the road gets twisty. Yet, for all that weight, it never feels ponderous. The big Jaguar simply leans a bit and then keeps going with lovely balance. Steering has a bit more play than the Astons, offering a softer, more forgiving feel. It's less keen to hustle you into a corner, more inclined to escort you serenely through it. Ride comfort is excellent. The aluminium chassis and well-damped suspension make for a supple, composed experience even on rougher surfaces. Braking. Both cars have capable brakes. The Aston's feel slightly firmer and more immediate, which suits its more sporting posture. The Jaguars are strong and reassuring, with enough bite for spirited runs, though the initial bite can feel a bit softer in comparison. Verdict: DB7 is the sharper, more engaging driver's car. XK8 is gloriously effortless and composed. Chapter 5, on the motorway. Here on British motorways, both cars feel in their element. 70 miles per hour in either is effortless. DB7, smooth, with that lovely supercharged soundtrack threading through the cabin like a raconteur telling slightly exaggerated stories. XK8, hushed, refined, and deceptive. Before you know it, you're doing the legal limit and feeling like you're only warming up. Cruise control in both works well, and neither nags or complains at long stretches. If anything, the Jaguar has the slight edge in serenity, the Aston in engagement. Over long distances, comfort is excellent in both, with the Jaguar's extra space giving it a slight advantage for taller occupants. Chapter 6, usability in the real world. Daily driving. On narrow town streets, both require more awareness than a small hatchback but are far from intimidating. DB7, tight turns reveal how long its bonnet truly is, so you get used to jinking early. Parking sensors, if fitted, are helpful. XK8, bulk feels more pronounced in tight spots, but the Jaguar's power steering and good visibility help you navigate without too much stress. Fuel economy. In both cases, don't ask too loudly. These are not economy cars, they are indulgent weekend and week warriors. Practicalities. Boot space, Jaguar wins. Rear seats, DB7s are more cramped, Jaguar's a bit more accommodating. Storage cubbies, both generous enough for GT standards, neither miraculous. Chapter 7, Style Points and Presence. In the pub car park, these two elicit very different reactions. DB7, people nod, admire, maybe speculate about its history. It has that timeless Aston charm, a blend of elegance and mystique. XK8, people smile approvingly and say lovely motor, perhaps with a hint of nostalgia. It's less exotic than the DB7, but no less adored. If these cars were characters at a dinner party, the DB7 would be the charismatic raconteur with a mysterious past, the XK8 would be the genial host who makes everyone feel welcome. Chapter 8, Maintenance and Ownership, a British Perspective. Owning either of these GTS in the UK is best approached with a mix of affection and realistic expectations. Aston Martin DB7, while earlier 6-cylinders are generally considered more affordable to maintain than V12 models, specialists charge specialist rates. But in return you get an engineered classic that holds presence on the road and auction boards alike. Jaguar XK8, parts tend to be slightly more accessible, and many independent Jaguar specialists across the UK know these cars inside out. There can be quirks, especially with age, electrics, that infamous Jaguar climate control, but a thorough pre-purchase inspection usually pays dividends. Both cars appreciate context, regular runs, proper servicing, and a sense of custodianship rather than casual neglect. Chapter 9, Final Thoughts. After a week with both cars, they remain distinct and delightful in their own ways. If pressed to pick a favorite, it's like choosing between oaky single malt and perfectly brewed Darjeeling, both brilliant, but suited to different moments. Choose the Aston Martin DB7 if You value driver engagement and style above all. You want a classic with genuine presence. You enjoy the sensation of a big bonnet and a supercharged soprano in your ears. Choose the Jaguar XK8 if you want effortless cruising with a dose of V8 charisma. You need a bit more practicality and interior space. You love relaxed power and elegant British understatement. In the grand tapestry of British motoring, both of these 1998 GTS shine. They stand not just as machines, but as ambassadors of an era when British craft met international ambition, and did so with flair, humour, and a bit of engine noise that makes the heart go pitter-patter.